When people hear me speak Japanese, they assume the reason I don't have a foreign accent is because my mom is Japanese, when in reality, it's thanks to my American dad. How could an American teach a Japanese accent better than a Japanese person? The secret lies in a specific trigger that many of us overlook in everyday conversation. Here's a hint. Kindergarten, cliché, vigilante. They're all loan words, or words we borrowed from other languages with very few modifications. My dad's strategy for a perfect Japanese accent comes down to loan words. But what do loan words have to do with accents? Loan words trigger what's called a negative transfer, where your brain refuses to completely switch from your dominant language to the target language. So if you're a native English speaker learning Japanese and hear a Japanese person say "irashawa," your brain will always subconsciously register that as rush hour in English, no matter how advanced you get at Japanese. So the more English loan words you encounter in Japanese, the harder it is for your brain to separate the two languages, and the more your English speech patterns will leak into your Japanese, hence giving you a foreign accent. It wouldn't be a big deal if loanwords were uncommon, but unfortunately they're becoming such a problem that the Japanese government is warning its citizens about English overwhelming the Japanese language and is even investigating this as a political issue through national surveys. After all, about 70% of newly created words that enter Japanese dictionaries each year are from English alone, and many of them are high-frequency words like burando, canceru, and meru. It's escalated to a point where you'll get weird reactions from Japanese people if you don't use the loan word, like calling a spoon a saji or a scarf an erimaki. In fact, you can probably guess what the next sentence means from the loan words alone.
クリスマスの日にデートして宿り木の下でキスをした。
Christmas deito and kisu give away that he's talking about dating and kissing people on Christmas. So when you consider that I grew up in America, steeped in English all the time, I should have normally developed an American accent in my Japanese. But my dad spared me this with a special household policy to keep my Japanese and English from overlapping. Namely, a 100% English-free environment at home, meaning not just zero English, but zero English loanwords, particularly when they became a crutch for weaknesses in my Japanese. Whenever I tried to swap in an English loanword for something I didn't know in Japanese, he'd catch me and correct me, even if it meant having to stop me mid-sentence. So if I called a computer screen a screen, he'd respond gamen. If I referred to Sleeping Beauty as a princesu, he'd respond ohime-sama. If I said I wanted a pet bunny, he'd respond usagi. Now you might be wondering, wouldn't a native Japanese speaker like my mom have more authority to correct my Japanese than my dad? Ironically, when it comes to loanwords, native speakers are actually less reliable because they have what's called an L1 match advantage, meaning their brain interprets loanwords as native words. It's like how we treat naive or fiancé as a natural part of English even though they're French loanwords. So my mom doesn't really notice whenever I substitute English loanwords for vocabulary I lack in Japanese, whereas my dad can see right through me and knows to nip it in the bud. Here's a terrifying reality. Is the future of the Japanese language just gonna be Japanglish? If you can already get away with using only loanwords to say entire phrases like happy birthday to mean happy birthday or I love you to mean I love you, who's to say Japanese won't just become a variation of English 100 years from now? You'd think that native Japanese speakers would be the most invested in preserving real Japanese, but the Japanese government literally calls them out as too lazy to do anything about it. Regardless of how true that is, if you're a gaijin or a hafu like me, I think it's now more important than ever to avoid overusing loanwords in your Japanese. Not only is it better for your accent and vocabulary, but it signals to Japanese people that you care about cultural authenticity. If we romanticize the devoted craftsmanship of traditional Japanese sword makers, potters, and sushi chefs, why not apply the same philosophy towards learning Japanese?